So we're just going to look at the chain rule. I don't want to get too distracted with the technicalities and the background, but nonetheless I will mention that the chain rule comes about ultimately because we've got the function of a function. And in this case, our function f of x we might call 2e of x. The other function, which we could call g of x, is cos 4x. And what we've got is f g of x, a composite function, and that's how we write it. Probably be a bit nicer if we had have written it like this, but we don't. But then it's clearer what's going on. We're feeding g of x into f of x. Don't think it's particularly well explained in the book, but basically we can't differentiate this directly because your list of standard derivatives does include e to the x, and maybe we could extend that to 2e to the x. It's not much of a leap. So this is what you would be expected just to be able to write down what the answer to this would be. But you can't do this here because it's more complicated. So we're going to make it simple. And the first thing we're going to do is use a substitution that's going to put this into a form that we could directly differentiate. So step 1, choose your substitution. And now I'm going to use that substitution and I've achieved what I set out to. This can now be directly differentiated. However, this is in terms of u, and what we are seeking, although I didn't write the question up here, is to find dy over dx, and this isn't x. So in that respect, we've got a problem. How we're going to overcome this problem is by understanding that dy over dx is exactly the same as dy over du multiplied by du over dx. It achieves the same thing. And so whilst we can't do this directly, we can actually find what dy by du is, and we can also find what du by dx is. So together, when we multiply this together, we get our end result. So here we've got our u, so du by dx would give us minus 4 sine 4x, and dy by du would just be 2e to the u. And of course, even this depends upon you being fairly confident with differentiation. So now I can put it all together. And that's the answer. Although we'll get rid of this u, we know what u is. We'll undo our substitution and change it back to cos 4x. And maybe tidy it up a bit. And we're done. So it's on video. You can go back and look at this again and see what I've done. But crucially, these are the 2 steps that I've taken. 1, decided upon an appropriate substitution such that I get it reframed in a way that I can directly differentiate. And secondly, we need to know this formula. And we're done.